A survey published by PwC reports that less than 1 in 3 corporate boards strongly understand how ESG risk affects their companies. Another section in the same survey highlights that half of the directors needed to see the link between ESG and their company strategies. That sparked my curiosity. The ESG subject is often taken on the light side of the conversations, and board members may not fully grasp the ramifications. So I decided to get into the ESG topic and share my findings. And today, I will mention one of the aspects of it, which is DEI, or diversity, inclusion, and equality. Since DEI is such a topic right now, but it also seems to be fairly misunderstood, it would be good to look at some of the ideas behind it without going deep into organizations and government agencies and getting more into the practical side. In this video, I will focus on diversity mostly, though I would like to provide some context first of what diversity is, what equality is, and what inclusion is. When reporting to boards or subcommittees, a board member usually has to do some research or contribute to the reporting of the findings or decisions. And to me, there is nothing better than going to reputable sources that provide a reasonable frame of reference. So after some research, I found the United Nations Global Impact, or the UNGC. The United Nations Global Impact is a voluntary initiative based on CEOs committed to implement universal sustainability principles and take steps to support the UN goals, UN as the United Nations. So if you are interested, you can check their work on their webpage, the UN Global. In their Diversity, Equality and Inclusion chapter, it is highlighted that 1 in 6 individuals globally face discrimination, particularly impacting women and those with disabilities. Inequality threatens long-term social and economic progress, affecting social unity, hindering poverty alleviation, and creating disparities in opportunities and outcomes. As a result, hindering economic effectiveness. Promoting diversity, equality, and inclusion in all business practices is crucial in addressing inequality and eradicating discrimination globally. The principle of non-discrimination is deeply rooted in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which serves as a foundation for international human rights standards. In Article 1, emphasizes the inherent right of all individuals to be born free and equal in dignity and rights. And Article 2 further asserts that no one should be faced discrimination based on factors such as race or color or gender or language or religion, political beliefs, social or national origin, property, birth, or any other status. Businesses are expected to respect and support human rights as per the 10 principles of the UN Global Compact. Additionally, they should work towards eliminating discrimination in employment and occupation, as outlined in Principle 6. This includes ensuring equality and non-discrimination in the workplace based on various factors such as race, religion, gender, disability, and more. The International Labour Organization further includes gender, HIV/AIDS status, age, sexual orientation, pregnancy, and family responsibilities in the list. You might be wondering how these relate to the board of directors and ESG. Well, it actually has a lot to do with them, especially since any business, no matter how small they are, needs a workforce to function effectively. Having the right workforce is crucial for successfully implementing the strategy set by the board of directors. Now, let's talk about DEI. What does it stand for? We mentioned already, DEI stands for diversity, equality, and inclusion. But these 3 concepts are different but interconnected. In order to fully benefit from a diverse, fair, and inclusive workforce, that brings a variety of skills, knowledge, and experiences, a business must embrace all these three aspects of diversity, equality, and inclusion to work hand in hand to create a thriving and successful workplace. So let's analyze a bit more what is diversity, what is equality, what is inclusion. So diversity often focuses on quantity. And here is a tongue twister that is coming, which means that the representation of different groups in a diversity is often associated with the quantity of different groups represented in a company. So what it means? It means actually how many people on different backgrounds, gender, languages, geographies, religions, etc., which are the amount of these or the quantity of these people in the workforce. The goal of promoting diversity in business is to ensure that individuals from, as I mentioned, various backgrounds have equal opportunities and fair treatment in terms of employment, growth, advancement, and compensation. When we talk about diversity, it encompasses not only personal characteristics like age, disability, gender identity, ethnicity, race, religion, sexual orientation, and people living with HIV, but also includes similarities and differences in values, work styles, caregiving responsibilities, hierarchical levels, and job roles. Each person belongs to multiple groups, we have to bear that in mind, and these affiliations may change over time, potentially influencing their employment prospects and outcomes. While diversity focuses on quantity, equality and inclusion prioritize quality. So equality acknowledges that individuals have varying circumstances. Some groups have faced discrimination historically, and achieving equal outcomes requires a tailored allocation of resources and opportunities. And inclusion, on the other hand, is about the relational experience of individuals and groups in the workplace. It involves feeling a sense of belonging, being understood and valued for one's unique identity, skills, and experience. So it's crucial for companies to take action on the diversity, equality, and inclusion because freedom from discrimination is a basic human right. By promoting diversity, equality, and inclusion in the workplace, companies allow their employees to freely choose their employment, unlock their full potential, and be rewarded based on their skills and qualifications. And moreover, embracing a diverse workforce benefits the employees and the business itself. The diversity, equality, and inclusion initiatives foster creativity and innovation, attract and retain talented individuals, boost employee engagement, and improve their company's reputation. So up to this point, what we have so far is a frame according to the UN Global Compact. So what I would like to do next is just to start to bring practical examples of what all these mean. So I'm going to look more into the diversity and disability, and I have an interesting example here. Back in 2013, when the New Zealand's men's rugby team won the Rugby World Cup, it seemed unimaginable that women's rugby would ever attract a full stadium and more TV viewers in New Zealand than the men's rugby. However, this changed 10 years later, in August 2023, when the New Zealand hosted the Women's Rugby World Cup. So you will say, what this have to do with anything as we are talking today? So if we look into boards of directors or advisors, it is an important aspect of ESG, or the environmental, social, and governance, that often faces skepticism or resistance due to the mindset of this is the way we do things here. So, however, it is crucial for people to move past these barriers. Investors also can easily track and assess the right gender diversity within a board, making it a significant factor to consider. So, what happened 10 years ago and was the norm, today completely changed. And we have to take that into account to make sure that we have enough diversity, or the diversity mindset or capacity to adapt to the new world as we live it today. So when this gender conversation, as an example, what exactly is all about? Why do we focus on this? I believe discussing this helps clarify things. It's not about one gender being superior to another or having more privileges. It's also not about pointing fingers where we currently stand in terms of gender equality, because that only creates obstacles. When people start feeling ashamed, progress stops. So we have to be careful with that too. Diversity plays a crucial role in enhancing and advancing businesses. It not only enhances the quality of thinking, but also brings forth a wide range of unique characteristics. Different genders contribute to distinct perspectives and ways of thinking, while individuals from various communities bring their own diverse approaches, resulting in a wealth of ideas within the business. According to a recent survey by Workday, which is an HR platform, 78% of the global business leaders recognize the increasing importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And this is in a survey done in 2023, last year. In terms of funding, 2022 McKinsey article highlighted the disparities underrepresented founders face. For example, Black and Latino founders receive only 1% and 1.5% respectively of the total US venture capital funding. And similarly, women-funded teams receive 1.9% of venture capital funds, while Black and Latino women founders receive as little as 0.1%. So what we learned out of these statistics is the emphasis that need to be a greater inclusivity and equal opportunities in the business world. It is a fact that many tech industries have been mostly designed by men, which possess a challenge, though it's not about pointing fingers at men, by the way. It's about recognizing the untapped potential that women, Black or Latinos, as we mentioned in the early stats from McKinsey, could bring to the table with the unique perspectives. By breaking down these barriers, we can all work together to make a bigger impact in the world. This brings to mind, really brings to mind Joy Mangano's history of creating a miracle mop. I don't know if you're familiar with this, the lady, which actually turned out to be a movie in 2015 called Joy, starring Jennifer Lawrence. So if we look to the movie from the lenses of diversity, inclusion, and equality, this is a truly eye-opening movie, because you can see how this lady, throughout her story, all these challenges she was facing, that actually we just mentioned all of them mostly, that was funding and ideas and women as an inventor, and the structures or the status quo of the selling of the products or the patents and this and the other. So it's a very interesting movie to watch through the lenses of diversity, inclusion, and during my time at SAP, I had the opportunity to be part of global steering committees. It was fascinating to see that no matter the industry or location, one of the top priorities for executives was always finding talented individuals. It was often the case that many talented individuals were being overlooked simply because they didn't fit the traditional mold. This reminds me of the positive impact rugby has had on women. And I'm coming back to this example again. Just a decade ago, there were no female role models in the England or the New Zealand rugby teams. But now these women have become role models for others, breaking barriers and changing the game. A similar transformation can be seen in women's football. The tournament has grown significantly since the first World Cup, Women's World Cup in 1991. There were only 12 teams, but the latest edition in the New Zealand featured 32 national teams and witnesses incredible fan engagement when they sold 1.7 million tickets and 1.3 million were seating fans at the stadiums attending matches, and another interesting data was almost 54 million Chinese viewers turning in to watch the game against England, China against England. The financial impact in hospitality, travel, infrastructure, and many other things have been substantial and phenomenal. If you're interested in learning more about these statistics, you can find them in the FIFA Women's World Cup Growth Report on inside.fifa. It is important to take these factors into account because there is a doubt surrounding the existence of inequalities. It is important to be cautious when using this term inequalities. Not all situations are the same, and there is a lot of context to consider before drawing any conclusions. But inequalities do exist, but they can occur on both sides. As an example, there is an instance where men face inequalities, such as in the case of paternity leave and maternity leave, where policies differ between countries and men are treated differently. Therefore, inequalities are not always one-sided. In fact, they can exist on both sides. And it is essential or useful for us to strive for change, create opportunities, progress forward. So we discussed diversity, and I would like to bring our attention now a bit about disabilities, because it's another topic that is quite interesting to observe. So it's a very important factor. This represents a significant opportunity for PLCs and boards. I always emphasize to small businesses that the ability to hire individuals where others may not is a definite strategic advantage. Today, businesses standards.com, today because I'm recording this on the 5th of May 2024, and this was published today, announced that in Japan, they plan to raise the mandatory employment rate for people with disabilities from 2%. So as of June 2022, there are already 614,000 people with disabilities employed in Japan, making a record for the 19th consecutive year. This is not only highlights in the progress that Japan is doing in terms of legislation about this, but also demonstrate that there are numerous opportunities available. For example, in Europe, the closest home, the UK has initiatives like the Disabled Confidence Commitment and including grants like the Access to Work or the ATW. If you're interested in these things in the UK, they are also in the EU, many of them, and every country has something. Just Google it, I'll say, because pretty much is to give you visibility of the possibilities rather than in an index of all the things that are available in Europe. And an interesting observation is that businesses that explore these opportunities have shifted their perspective to view them as abilities rather than disabilities. Instead of focusing on what individuals cannot do or what they believe they cannot do, they now emphasize what people are capable of and the value they can bring. This shift in mindset has completely transformed the narrative and the culture within the organization. One of the responsibilities of leadership, boards and board of directors and advisors, is to guide others in understanding how to approach this change. It is essential to be open to learning these things ourselves, as we do not possess all the knowledge. So that's what one of the reasons I'm creating these videos and documenting them is my own learning journey, and at the same time I'm sharing this with everybody. So as we gain knowledge through our own experiences, when individuals with diverse perspectives, experiences and challenges enter our businesses, it can greatly influence our operations. This is not only opens us to new employees and talent, but also expands our customer base as we begin to communicate in a language they understand. So it creates other revenue streams as we tap into other communities that we were not aware of or we didn't know how to tap into before. Unfortunately, the potential that lies within diversity is often overlooked. It appears that people are unsure of where to begin or how to approach it, and this becomes a puzzle that we must solve. So finding and putting all these pieces together to make it work. So when it comes to those of us in board or advisory board positions who are committed to assist the PLCs in getting started, Or for PLCs who are wondering how to begin, the key is to start by engaging with the communities that they are aimed to collaborate with. This could involve reaching out to several organizations, such as owned businesses, communities, enterprise run by men or women, or businesses led by individuals with disabilities. And spending time with these communities is a good start for gaining insights and building relationships. It may feel challenging initially, but engagement is essential for success. So we ought to step into the unknown, engage in various communities or committees or non-profits with an open mind, and be thankful for the opportunity to learn. The key to success lies in continuous learning, exploring and discovering how individuals can contribute value to our business. Consider establishing an apprentice program. This is on the other hand. So we go out and learn from other people, or we bring people in. So we can easily do an apprentice program to bring new perspective to our board of directors or advisors. Collaborate with other organizations to bring individuals from diverse backgrounds, such as the Black or disabled community, international labor organizations, or as the International Labour Organization suggested. So create environments where we can foster these new voices. Many individuals are eager for a chance to gain experience and kickstart their careers. Instead of offering a fixed role right away, set realistic expectations and allow someone to shadow your business for a year. That providing opportunities like these will create a solid succession for the future progress. And succession is very important because remember that I said this is the way that we do things here. Today might not be the way that are going to be done in the coming years. So creating this succession and say, okay, we know which is the reference point, where we go in, how we can make it better. So many companies are led by women from diverse ethnic backgrounds, especially in the small business sector. And speaking of the apprentice program, there seems to be a perception in the corporate world that individuals with impressive resumes and experience bring credibility to an organization. And that is true. However, it's crucial also to nurture emerging talent and not solely rely on experienced individuals. There is a limit, if you may, to fishing from the same pool of skilled talent. So it's important to consider both perspectives. So it's not enough to focus on finding one highly credible person and assume that the investors will be satisfied with that. Investors should also consider, on the other side, investing in the future and developing the board for the long term, which is equally important as the existing experience. So the idea or the goal is to bring in individuals who lack experience. And I believe that framing as apprentice program allows them to learn without feeling too much pressure. It creates a more relaxed environment for interaction. One observation we've made is that when people join a board from outside, they are often eager to prove their value, which can lead to various challenges and pushback. So the global financial crisis was a major catalyst for ESG diversity, as it highlighted the absence of dissenting voices. Many blindly believed that property prices will always rise, leading institutional investors to realize the need for diverse perspective among board members. It became evident that having individuals who all came from the same educational background or had a similar professional experiences in the past was not beneficial. So we need to look into diversity of thought regardless of the source. So for today, my final thought, I believe that this may not be as complex as it seems. And you may say, yeah, sure, it is quite complex. That's correct. It's all about doing what's right and considering the impact we can make on the world, whether we are part of a business, a member of a community, or an investor. We can begin by eliminating judgment and shame and instead recognizing the opportunities in the ESG world. So ESG, I mean that actually we are considering the impact in the future. It's important to hold business accountable for genuine data. And what I'm saying is, if someone claims everything is flawless, it's better to approach with skepticism rather than believing that we have immense challenges to overcome yet. So everything is flawless? Not sure. Probably I would like to see the data because there are many challenges to go over. And simultaneously, while it may be intricate, there are simple actions that anyone can take. As the saying goes, a journey of 10,000 miles starts and ends with a single step. So if you like the content, like and subscribe, and we'll be until next week when we are going to bring more content to you. Thank you very much and see you then.